Well, you can only, I strongly believe that you can only play as much music as you know. There are a lot of drummers that play good time. But to be a great musician who plays the drums, you gotta have a lot better and a lot more tools than just good time. You gotta know form and structure and melody. You have to understand how rhythms can work against each other, polyrhythms. You need to understand the concept of dynamics, which is neither playing soft all the time, nor playing loud all the time, but how you get from soft to loud and back. So those kind of things are what are important to me, yeah. Groove is another name for swing. In a different context, groove is swing. Groove, swing, that thing. It's a invisible yet irresistible force in music that makes it impossible for the listener to sit still. Time is one of those things kind of like pitch, right? Either you have it or you don't. You can improve what you have. Playing with a metronome helps. Playing with records, I believe, helps more. Even if the records vary. I don't know if you noticed in my set, some of the stuff that I play with, all of the stuff that I play with is live. It's recorded live with people. It's not like one guy on a keyboard playing all the parts to a click track, right? So sometimes the music does this, and then sometimes the music does this, and then sometimes the music goes like this, but it's still all in this spot. So you have to know how to change with the feeling of the music without actually moving the time, right? That comes over time too. That's not something you learn quickly, because it's something you have to learn with the people you're playing with. So as those people get better, you get better as well. I practice rudiments. I practice playing songs. I practice piano. I practice trumpet. I practice composition. And all of these things enhance my drumming, okay? Sometimes I practice soloing. Sometimes when I practice soloing, practice soloing over a form. I don't ever do the same thing every time I sit down to practice, because there's so many aspects of being musical that it's impossible when you are an adult with responsibilities and a family and stuff. You know? I don't know if it's necessary that every drummer, but every drummer that studies with me is encouraged to purchase the Complete Drummer's Vocabulary as taught by Alan Dawson. This is Alan Dawson's teaching system. The book is written by John Ramsey, Hudson Music. Syncopation, Ted Reed. And then for snare drum, start with rudimental swing solos or All-American Drummer, the 150. And then for orchestral snare drumming, Garwood Whaley or Anthony Cerrone. You know, yeah. Art Blakey was perhaps my biggest influence. I was fortunate enough to be selected by Art Blakey as the last drummer before he died to be a jazz messenger and play in the Jazz Messenger two-drummer big band. I was also the last drummer selected by Elvin Jones to called by these guys. Not by somebody in the band, but by these guys. I need your help, come sit in. Come sit in for the week with me in case I need you. Which is an amazing gift, because it's like being paid to go to school, you know? And, but also Philly Joe Jones and Tony Williams and Jackie Jeanette and Shadow Wilson and Max Roach. And I mean, I love Billy Higgins. I love a lot of drummers for different reasons. So that question is almost impossible. The more I learn about music and drummers, the longer it takes for me to answer that question. We could be standing out here till next week and I'd still be thinking the names, you know. Well, I'm really excited. I'm running my own label now. We have 5 CDs in our catalog, Onyx Productions music label. 4 of the records are mine. One is by a vocalist named Laney Cook, which I produced, played drums and trumpet on. And so for the next calendar year, the goal for Onyx is to record 3 records in the next 12 to 18 months, which is very ambitious, but we're already on the way. A trio record will be my 3rd trio record called Triangular 3 with the Curtis brothers, Luquez and Zakai Curtis. And then the 2nd record would be a record of a group that I'm putting together called Prime with VJ Iyer and Gary Thomas and Kenny Davis. And this is going to be an interesting new project for me. We'll probably record in the spring. The trio will record in October. Prime will record in the spring. And then sometime around this time next year, I'll record the 25th anniversary Fotet. The Fotet, 1, 2, 3, 4. The Fotet is my signature band, vibes, clarinet, acoustic bass, and drum. And so we'll have a 25th anniversary edition of that band with the original members from the first 20 years, a couple of them, a couple of the new members from the last 5 years, and a very special guest on bass clarinet, Mr. Benny Maupin. So we're really excited about the future and things going on at the record label, yeah. Jazz is an music out of the African-American tradition. This is true and you cannot deny that. But while learning the vocabulary of jazz, don't abandon who you are musically and culturally as a Russian. Because in the mixing of those two can come something that maybe the world has never seen. And that's how this music continues to grow and is much bigger than just African-American classical music now. It's still that, but it belongs to the world and it has so many branches now that there's no one way to play it. But it does have to swing and groove.